Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will and we're back today for another episode of Adventures in Middle-earth, Wilderland Adventures, or Wilderland Adventures, as I'm going to now be calling it, because every episode just gets wilder and wilder, and I keep killing more hobbits, it would seem. Man, I've we had a week off. I had the chance to let the guilt really sink in, and then 20 seconds passed and I felt a lot better. And so now I'm here. So I will be our lore master for today. And Charlie isn't with us, obviously, because we killed a character. No, but she'll be back next week. She will have a new character to play with us. But like that's the rules, if you get killed, you get like a 1 week timeout period where you're just not allowed to play anymore. So yeah. But the rest of us are here. We have Pruitt. How you doing, Pruitt?
Oh, I'm doing great. And Will, don't feel bad. I mean, hobbits are basically like the puppies of Middle-earth. So, I mean, you're in good company, just like what Jim Davis does. Same thing, really. So, anyway, yes, I'm excited to be here and get back into the skin of Gond, Jameis Gond, everybody's favorite awful character. Now he's changed though. He's the exploits and the sacrifice of his wee little friend have actually made an impact on him. So it's going to be interesting moving forward to see how he reacts to that tragedy.
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic. And have I become that which I have always tried to resist being? Have you changed me?
Yeah. I mean, it was inevitable. It's like the dark knowledge of the mythos. You can't tangle with it without being changed.
Yes, you are the Vader to my Skywalker.
I'll take it.
So, how you doing, Jim? And who can we play tonight?
I'm doing good. I'll just try to remember not to have the low ground this evening. I'm playing. Who am I playing? Belligorn. Yes, Belligorn is who I'm playing. A Dunedain scholar, someone who's a bit after knowledge that might change him himself. He's been spending the last year or so opening up a sanctuary with the Woodland Hall and spending that time learning the ways of sort of southern Mirkwood, particularly the western edges of it, getting expertise in survival and medicine as a consequence of a level up, and generally being a hero of the woodsman and tidying up his college in Raskabel. So, yeah, looking forward to jumping back into the action with old Belligorn.
Fantastic. And our fellowship would not be complete without Madame Gandalf. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing well. I have the nectar of the gods, which is coffee, ready to give me the energy I need to get through Will's murderous campaign.
It really is an effort in just maintaining energy being here.
Right. First the spiders, now our hobbit friend is dead. The most pure of all of us, with the best of accents, is gone. And I had to admit that Buffet is still in mourning, but that doesn't mean that she will not stop forcing her honey cakes upon Gond at all measures. She will find a strain that she is not allergic to. This is like her mission in life now, is to find a honey that you are not allergic to, Gond. I will not rest until you taste my honey cake.
Belligorn the Scholar is probably going to be the best help there in assisting you in your quest for the correct strain of honey. If that's the thing, I don't know how honey works. I'm guessing it is.
Yeah, he would probably find that no one's really ever allergic to honey. It's just like, what?
Right, that might be the issue.
All this time he's just been like lying because he just really doesn't like honey.
Yeah, it makes me all jittery, and it makes me jittery and excited. I don't know when I eat too much of it.
I'm just allergic to allergic people.
There you go. That's most likely. Well, yes, I'll be the lore master for tonight, and I've been trying to keep it sort of family-friendly, nice bit of Tolkien, all a bit of Tolkien darkness. I accidentally murdered a Hobbit last week in Charlie's character, Teasel, who ended up not making it through the Mirkwood as they were traveling with some companions of theirs through the woods and through the Mirkwood, in fact, and trying to make it to the other side so they could sell their wares. Unfortunately for the party, they had an escapade along the way, which involved some spiders, and then it involved a well in which they were being sort of lured into and eventually attacked by some horrible thing in the well, which through the divine grace of some nat 20s and some unfortunate rolls that went really, really in my favor, Teasel did not make it out alive, and the rest of the party, well, they did manage to make it outside of the Mirkwood safely, and then went on their further adventures in their fellowship phase, in which they did opening up some sanctuaries, returning Teasel's body to the Shire, and then finally returning to the Easterly Inn, where our adventure today will pick up. They have all been mourning the loss of their erstwhile companion, Teasel. So that's where we're going to kick off today at the Easterly Inn with the Chapter 2 of Wilderland Adventures, which is entitled Of Leaves and Stewed Hobbit. So yes, we have already killed the hobbits. We've just got to stew her now.
Cook them and eat them, as is tradition.
I thought we brought her back to the Shire.
Yes, but that's what I found out.
Have to stew her in front of her comrades? Like, oh my gosh.
Hey, it's their tradition. We're just following it.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
That's right. Jameson.
This is the Warhammer version of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're at the
for sure.
Easterly Hall.
Yes, easy into we're going to kick off. But before we get started, a couple of things real quick. If you haven't checked out Adventures in Middle-earth, it's a full D&D5E conversion into the world of Tolkien and Middle-earth. You can check it out on the Cubicle 7 store. The link is there or below in the information in the video. You can check out Wilderland Adventures, which is a fantastic adventure we've been playing through thus far. We continue to for the next couple of weeks here. We're going to try and wrap up Of Leaves and Stewed Hobbit. At the very least, maybe we can get to the next chapter as well. There's a really fun, great game. If you enjoy playing D&D like most sane people do, you're going to fit right into playing Adventures in Middle-earth, because you don't need to learn a whole new system or read a whole new book to understand how to play it, which is one of the best things about it. It really does capture a good Tolkien-y vibe. And of course, our regular sponsors include FancyGrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. Keep an eye out for the Unity Kickstarter coming to Fancy Grounds in a month's time. Big update for Fancy Grounds. We'll be using the Unity engine. If you're already a Fancy Grounds user, I believe you got a discount on a new product, which is pretty awesome. So if you're a long-time user of Fancy Grounds like myself, now is going to be a good time to cash in on the new Kickstarter. And the Unity engine is going to make things 100 times easier to use Fantasy Grounds, and things will run quicker, and it's just going to look so sexy. So check that out. And of course, wellinggames.co.uk is a go-to destination for tabletop, war games, board games, and more. And if you haven't yet retweeted this tweet, go ahead and do so, because when we do hit 20 retweets on the tweet, we give away a set of our sponsors' dice from Tabletop Loot, the wonderful, fantastic people over there. Check out tabletoploot.com for your beautiful dice needs. And that's about it. Oh, you can donate to a Fun Game as well. So if you want to give players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and worse, they may need some help, my friends. I killed one last week, and I kind of did that accidentally. And then the next day, I killed 2 more player characters, and I haven't DM'd since then. So the worrying thing is, I'm on a... I really am on a streak right now. I warn you that I'm rolling pretty damn hot as the DM.
Will, I forgot I had a thing. I just need to go.
Go, yeah. So yeah. But hey, let's start, as we do every episode, with a pertinent quote from The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. Any Tolkien work will do, really. So, I come from under the hill, and under the hills and over the hills my paths led, and through the air I am he that walks unseen. I am the clue finder, the web cutter, the stinging fly. I was chosen for the lucky number. I am he that buries his friends alive, and drowns them, and draws them alive again from the water. I came from the end of a bag, but no bag went over me. I am the friend of bears, and the guest of eagles. I am ring winner and luck wearer, and I am barrel rider. And thus begins of leaves and stewed hobbit, as our fellowship finds themselves in a little hole in the ground called the Easterly Inn. The Easterly Inn was founded by hobbits and still continues to this day to be a home for them. The owner and currently residing master of the Easterly Inn is one Dodinus Brandybuck, formerly of Buckland in the Shire, but now a resident of the Wilderland. His friends call him Dodie, and he is one of the most precocious and at the same time worrisome hobbits that one could hope to come across. And you guys decided to meet at Easterly Inn because it's a sort of a halfway point between the Shire and where Bjorn's house and where the Woodsfolk live down further to the southeast. And after a year of travel away during our fellowship phase, you guys haven't seen each other in a long time, except for, I guess, Gond and Buffy have been traveling together, at least for a while. Their paths have certainly crossed. But you haven't seen your companion Belagorn in a long time now. So you know the day which you are set to arrive back. Assuming everyone arrives on the day, who would be the first group to arrive at the Easterly Inn? Either Gond and Buffy or Belagorn. Maybe one of you guys decided to get here a week early and has already spent some time here.
Yeah, I think Gon would have gotten here a little early. He didn't have as much to do. He followed up on a few reports, sent some stuff back to Minas Tirith, but now, the time draws near, and he's like, screw it. Let's just go ahead and head over there. And so yeah, he's been there a while.
Yeah, I think Buffet would have stayed at the Shire a bit, probably looking for honey alternatives from the inspiration of our hobbits who do also love food. Maybe something like molasses, or like treacle, or like a bolt, like a barley malt,
syrup,
or something like that. Yeah, like a syrup. Really researching her honey cakes in order to just force them upon Gond. She'll probably have sent like a couple of ravens or something to Belagorn, like, what about this? Like, does this sound like it is plausible? Is this related to honey?
Extract would be more suitable. Something yeastier.
Yeastier. So he's a yeasty boy.
Against a spread of some kind. Toast.
All right.
Here.
Jameis is certainly one particularly yeasty fellow, as well his companions know.
It was sabotage, I tell you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some of the women of Minas Tirith also know this.
Again, it was sabotage.
So Belagorn's maybe the last to arrive.
Belagorn's definitely the last to arrive. Are Belgo and Father accompanying? Are they headed back this way?
Yeah, certainly. It would certainly be the case.
Baldur and Belgo.
Baldur and Belgo have been staying at the Easterly Inn for a time now as well, having sort of made their money. They owe you the money, so by the time you arrive, they'll pay you back the extra. I think it's 20 or 30 silver that they still owe you. It's 25. In fact, they gave you 25. So they'll.
So maybe he's coming back from Woodland Hall with them. Like he's been spending the year at Woodland Hall, and he's maybe just like, if you're headed back that way, he'll hitch a ride. Walk along with them.
Okay. Alrighty.
So he arrives when they arrive.
Cool. So the group of you roll up, and at this point, Jameis, you can roll a wild magic surge from Charlie. The wild magic bees choose Jameis, as they so often do.
Oh, awesome.
3165. Alrighty. 3165.
Feels good.
The next meal prepared by Jameis induces pyromania in elves.
That's why I don't eat honey, okay? Because the elves have set themselves on fire. I tried to warn you. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
The deadly
Nobody
implications of honey. It's elves setting themselves on fire. Just spontaneous.
Anything could happen. It truly is dangerous. So, if you've been staying at Eastleigh Inn for a while, you know this homely little house is situated near a little brook that flows out of Mirkwood towards the Great River, approximately 20 miles south of where the forest gate opens along the eaves of the Wild Wood. A small stone bridge arches over the babbling waters, and just beyond that stands the inn. The Easterly Inn consists of a small but comfortable wooden inn containing a common room and a few guest rooms for big folk, some outbuildings and stables, and a hobbit hole beneath where Dindy, Dodie, Agatha, and Dodie's 2 young sons live. Although it only opened a few months ago, the inn is gaining a reputation as a good stopping point for journeys east of Mirkwood. The beer is good, the food is excellent, and hobbits make wonderful hosts, even when their homes are invaded by 13 dwarves, a wizard, and Bilbo proved some years previously, although that is a controversial topic, particularly among your late friend Teasel. In truth, the success of the inn, though, has less to do with Dodie's beer, or even his wife Agatha's delicious food, and owes more to Baelon's promise of protection, and the curiosity of travelers who come to see the strange halflings. Still, if someone comes to shelter from bandits and stays for the food and the soft feather beds, that is still silver in Dodie's pockets. Indeed, even if the inn survives, it may become the heart of a new village, just as Bree sprang up at the crossroads around the prancing pony. So it really is this delightful little home out of the woods with a warm hearth and the smells of delicious food cooking at any time. Agatha is particularly well known for her not only her soups and broths, but also her baking as well. So the smell of fresh bread, of muffins, of cakes, and the fresh cream that comes with them, and locally grown jam, and controversially some honey as well from the beehives that are kept outside of the Eastleigh Inn, often wafts out to greet any travellers coming by. So, James, you've spent a little while here. It's been a good time to pen some letters to your colleagues at Minas Tirith, and the little hobbit Dodie has bustled around you constantly. He is something of a bee, I guess, in that he's quite troublesomely pestering you about whether or not he's doing enough for you. He's one of those people that when you're staying at their house, they just can't ask you enough if you are comfortable and doing okay, to the point where it makes you uncomfortable. That is sort of hobbit hospitality. And yet at the same time, you can't quite help but being enamored by the little person, as he is inordinately jovial and friendly. Same goes for Buffy as well. He's sort of doted on you as well, but also Buffy might be having a bit of a better time because there's a lot of nature. There's a small stables. They keep a single pony there, but also there are sort of like farmyard animals that sort of scatter about the place as well. So the two of you are surprised, happily, when Dodie bustles in with a pipe in hand, his little furry, hairy feet stepping in, the familiar patter of Dodie's feet at this point. You hear him coming. Bastard Gond, Miss Buffy, you have a new guest. I think you're going to be pleased of who it is.
Well, I certainly hope so. Is that pie for us? Yes?
Yes, it is now.
And he takes the pie. It's quite good today.
You better be sharing that.
Of course. I am a gentleman of Minas Tirith, Buffet. By the way, Dodie, could you maybe get us some cream for this pie, or just whip us up something there in the back? And basically, Jameis has figured out, like, this is one of those people that does that. They want to get stuff for you, so he has learned to, like, ask for things that kind of take a few minutes to prepare, just to, like, give us some space. But always asking for something because it's what he wants. It's what Dodie wants. So he asked for like a cream custard, something to put on the side of the pie.
Oh, yes, right away. And runs off into the kitchen.
Quality takes time, Dodie. And then
you've really got to work around your finger, don't you?
Hey, listen, I am not going to deny the small folk their pleasure in making sure we're having a good time. That would just be selfish on my part. Exactly. You should
deprive them of their function.
Exactly. It gives him purpose, it gives him happiness, so I cheers to that. And he kind of turns to look to see, like, at the door to see if whoever has shown up, waiting to, is it our payday or is it our good friend Belagord?
Well, yes, sort of both at the same time, in fact, as you see another couple of big folk, Belagorn and Baldor and the young boy Belgo, coming up on the same two ponies that you recognize having traveled through Mirkwood. How does Belagorn look after a year at the woodsman's place?
Well weathered and keen-eyed. He comes in putting away a worn copy of one of Bilbo's book, perhaps maybe even Teasel's annotated version with her experiences of the event. And Jameson, Buffet, how are you? And he comes in, he's got his sort of broad-brimmed hat. He's clearly spent a lot of time, just out and about, as he seems a bit more sort of sure of his footing and confident in his stride. But he comes over and just, I trust that the journey was well, yes?
Yes, sad business as it was, but we were treated quite kindly in the Shire, and Belagorn, I see the road has been good to you, my friend. And he gives him a hearty clap on the shoulder.
Thank you. It has been. The woodsmen and their kin are appreciative of us returning Wolfbiter and word of their lost prince, at least. I have a small cottage in Raskabel that I've been staying at and studying with the one of the various apothecaries and herbalists there for all kinds of things. Did you ever find any of that? Speaking to Bubby, did you ever find any of that that we talked about, the spread in the Shire?
I found a barley one. They have lots and lots of barley. You were right to look out for the yeast.
Mm-hmm. It's very good. Perhaps we'll try some later. But I could go on and on about the various rumors about Western Mirkwood, but I prefer to hear of your own journey. You made it over the mountains safely. He's just a little catch up with him.
Yes, I mean, it wasn't too terribly difficult. I don't recall any trouble on the road. Problem was, though, on the way back, I'm pretty sure I put on a few pounds after all of the wake and the funeral dinner and then the funeral supper. And then what was after that? The funeral nightcap. Mm. I know we
Not
eat
to
4 times.
mention the post-wake breakfast.
Yes.
Mm. The post-wake. But does it breakfast post-wake anyway? No, never mind.
Well, yeah.
I understand it's a lot of food. Surely, though, pleasant to spend time there, yes?
Oh, quite.
The people of the Shire are lovely.
Also, immediately at this
lovely
point, as you're mentioning food, Dodie jumps in with the pie and like the custard cream or whatever it is else you've asked for, a platter of it. Ah, you must be Master Belagorn. Mr. Gond and then Buffy have told me all about you. My name is Dodie Brandybuck, and I run an establishment. Would you like something to eat? A pie, a cake, bread, soup, maybe some cheese, or a platter of biscuits?
I'll take your finest cheese and sausage plate, and if you have any fresh bread, I'll take that as well. Big butter, and a flagon of ale for each of us, as well as a room for myself and the two gentlemen here. And he flush with coin, Belagorn will buy everybody around and pay for dinner.
Yes,
You're a
Baldor
fast
and Belko
learner.
reintroduce themselves as well. Baldor is pleased to see the two of you. Very good to see the both of you again. We had good luck down with the trade, so here's the rest of your promised money, my friends. I hope the funeral was I'm sure it was a wonderful affair.
Yes. The hobbits know how to send their own off. I haven't really spent much time around them before this, but my eyes were opened. I call them friend now.
As wonderful as burying a very beloved friend can be.
Of course. So you guys settle in, and settle into the at the feast, a veritable feast, which is laid at your table yet again. This is just a daily occurrence. Agatha is the cook. She's Dodie's wife, and really is a talented chef. There is no doubt about the hobbits do one thing very well, and that is certainly food. Dodie comes over with so much food on various different platters, various different courses, and says, Mr. Belagorn, it's such a pleasure to have you here in the Easterly Inn, which is, I'm not sure if you know this, everyone's heard this a million times if you've been staying here, but this inn was co-founded by Mr. Bilbo Baggins, nonetheless. Co-investor chief of this place.
What is he about then? I have many questions for him regarding his book.
No, in fact he's not, but he comes around here all the time, when he's not in the Shire, of course. But Mr. Bilbo Baggins, he and I go way back. He's a very, very, very close friend of mine.
Then I look forward to his shadow darkening the door. Perhaps you could tell us a bit about the rumors around here. I'm from further south, and curious as the news.
The rumors
Buffy's going
around
to try
here.
to be quiet about the Bilbo stuff in the meantime, like, oh, Bilbo.
We say his name. Yes, Mr. Baggins. Well, the rumors of this area. Well, Wilderland is, as it ever has been, a strange and dark place, but this place here is a shelter, a veritable oasis in the desert of good folk. That being said, there has been reports of people going missing, traveling west and not returning. Those traders and salesmen, like Mr. Baldor here, who don't return. It could be simply that the snows come in and make travel difficult, or it could be that more mischievous people are about.
West, across the Anduin.
Oh, yes.
Who's gone missing? How many were there? Curious, you see, it's a bit of an obsession of mine.
And for Gond and Buffy, you've heard a version of this tale and a lot about his brother, Diddy, involved in the same conversation. He's been trying to pluck up the courage to ask you to help him with something. Clearly it's something about his brother having not coming back. He just, every time he wants to ask you something, he's too polite, and he goes and gets you something instead. Well, lots of people, a few folk, I think, from around here. I wouldn't want to trouble with you with it. though.
Doty, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard tale of your brother having some troubles there. Is that not true?
Well, he did go west earlier in the year. He was supposed to return by late summer. I sent out some word months ago, but he said that he'd arrived and he was gathering supplies for a long journey east through the Mirkwood. But wherever eastwards he is, I haven't heard anything from him since.
So I have a Scholar has this news from afar feature where every time they finish a rest in a sanctuary, they sort of like just pick up a couple of tidbits of events that have happened in the Wilderland. And maybe like if in his travels up here, Belagorn is able to like fill in something that's been missing, or like is able to make a connection between something else he's heard and this thing that he's hearing now.
You would know that people go to the High Pass as a location that they go to like pick up supplies. It's sort of like the traveler's rest stop. But people, this tale isn't the first one you've heard of people going missing, or of not returning at the very least. So you don't know. The rumors don't say what it is. It could be bandits, it could be goblins, or it could just be snows from the High Pass blocking travel, which is pretty common. The rumors abound what it could be, but certainly not the first one.
Certainly not the first one. Okay, then I'll just catch my companion's eye as the Hobbit's clearly telling them something that they're bored by or just sort of like has heard before, and we'll just sort of give them a bit of a signal that this is something that both I've heard and perhaps we should be checking out. And I'll let him. I'm happy to just let him chatter on as long as he wants. There's something valuable in what he's saying at the very least. It gives him comfort. It seems to just talk.
Yeah. Well, I would never be so to impose you to go all the way out to High Pass just to look for my brother. You are all heroes of much repute, but I would say this: if you did find yourself out that way, that I am a friend of Bilbo Baggins's.
I hear he has a very lot of money.
Well, yes, and I am not. I am not a poor man myself, especially when it comes to regards of my brother and news of him. He is very dear to my heart.
That was a joke.
Well,
what?
Well, I mean, Doty,
Yes.
Doty, you have been such a gracious host, and we would never ask for any. We would never ask for any compensation for looking into this. Although, some travel supplies would not would not be frowned upon. But this obviously distresses you, and I see you as a friend. And this is obviously a trouble in the region. Maybe we'll have to look into this.
Well, that would be very kind of you. Very kind indeed.
We'll definitely take a look. Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Well, certainly, it's some weeks of travel out that way. You would have to cross the Anduin, of course, which is not a simple thing to do. But if you were to cross at the old ford, that's the best place to do that, especially at times like this, when the river's running high.
Yes, we will do that. We will not. Yes.
Rivers can be treacherous things. Don't you know?
Yes, I've heard that.
Oh, yes. I mean, I've never been to the Anduin myself, but at least not at its highest points.
No.
For the night is dark and full of tellers. Wait, wrong floor.
Do you have any more of this pie? Perhaps rhubarb.
Yes. I'll ask Agatha. She'll make it straight away, and he bustles off. And no doubt there will be rhubarb is being chopped as we speak.
Excellent. So let me see. I don't know. I have no idea how much I know about this place, but the High Pass. I'm just looking at this map, and the High Pass seems like dangerous, and like, is it springtime or the snow's melted kind of thing, or?
Yeah, so we're in spring now, so most of the snow should have melted, but it would still be a very snowy.
These are the Misty Mountains.
Yeah, those are the Misty Mountains. So
Mountains.
dangerous territory as when it comes to goblins and all sorts of trolls, spiders, that sort of thing. Certainly, his brother Dindy could have fallen prey to it. Yes, not for the faint of heart.
No. That's kind of the gist that, well, I mean, Belligorn grew up in, Imladris, which is kind of right there. So I'm trying to keep my player and character knowledge separate.
Right.
But, he basically was just like, yes, it's the Misty Mountains. It could have been any number of terrible things that got poor Hobbit. I think we should look into it, because if there are goblins active in the High Pass, then, well, people will want to know about that.
That is exactly right.
Yes. Or worse. Hopefully it's not. Well, that's best left unsaid. So, get a good night's rest, and then we'll head south. Make for Old Ford.
Yes.
Old Ford.
You know that the Old Ford is protected by bay awnings.
Oh, well.
Yep.
We're going right through your heartland, Wolfie.
Then you'll see the true meaning of a real camp.
I look forward to it.
Great animals. Great food.
And the honey.
Plenty of honey.
We're going to eat it like Pooh Bear. Just to put our paws in it.
Maybe I can introduce them to this barley contraption. See what they make of it.
Yes. Well, it's an acquired taste, I hear, but hearty. Perhaps.
Well, we can even say it's vegan friendly.
I've not heard
I'm
tales
not
of
familiar with that version of Elvish.
It's what we call some special folk who don't like honey.
It's not a matter of like.
It's been cursed. Every time you eat honey. Don't cook for the elves.
So wait, right now, as he's eating this pie, are elves somewhere on fire and setting things on fire? Because I mean that was the wild magic surge, correct?
So probably what happened is one time in Jameis's history, he ate some honey and also an elf was on fire, and he's connected the two together as direct causation.
Yeah, I love it. Every time I've eaten honey, bad things happen.
Yeah,
Just saying.
Okay, so you guys rest up and get some more pies from Dodie and the like. The most information he can really give you is that High Pass is where his brother Dindy said that he did reach and he did get supplies. So that's the next location the first location to really check out in terms of what might have happened there.
Gotcha. And Dodie's certain that like Dindy went south along this road, then through Old Ford.
Yes, he's certain that. Yeah, he's certain that he took the journey down to Old Ford and then across to High Pass. It's one that he's taken 100 times before, sort of thing. So he can't imagine his brother would have gone any other way for any other reason.
Okay. Perhaps one of the Beornings has seen something, or at the very least saw them pass. But I feel like a good night's rest and restock provisions and Belligorn's ready to rock.
Yeah.
He's got a
you guys have been
staff and good walking boots.
Absolutely. Okay, so as we begin the first leg of our new journey, the first journey is from the from the easterly into the old ford. Now we're just traveling down from in the middle Vales rather. I can bring up the map here in a second for you guys in chat if you want to take a look. But it has a peril rating of 1. It's a inhabited, protected by the Beornings area of land. So it's not particularly dangerous. And as a reminder, we're going to need a party guide who's going to be making the embarkation roll. And then we're going to need to fill out the other roles as well. And we're going to have one role missing because we don't have a teasel, and we don't have a... Oh, wait, no, we have a guide. We do have a guide. No, not a guide. No, for some reason I was thinking we had 2 wanderers in the party.
No.
That is false.
No.
That is false.
But I guess it would kind of make sense if maybe Buffet takes the role, since this is her territory of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've got expertise in survival myself, so I'm happy to make any survival rolls we need to make. So whatever, forget what roles use survival, but I'm happy to fill any of those. As he's been learning some woodcraft amongst the people of
Survivalist hunter. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go on. So either a scout or a lookout roll for Jameis. Scout is stealth and investigation. Lookout is perception.
I'll be the lookout. I mean, I could be both, but I'm better at perception.
Yeah. So any rolls that the scout would normally have to take, you guys can take. It's just that you're at disadvantage for taking them.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. The power rating is 1. So the embarkation roll for Buffy to make is in fact a D12, and it is plus your survival proficiency bonus and plus half your wisdom bonus.
Half my wisdom bonus. Okay. No problemo. All right. Altogether, that will come to a 14.
Okay, and it's -1 for the power rating down to a 13. So that's damn good for the first leg of your journey. It is 12 or more. There isn't, in fact, a 13 on the table. That's how well you rolled there. The company sets upon a path that will likely show them wonders long since forgotten or into dangers that most would quail at the thought of. But the auspices are good, and should the company be true, they will surely prevail. As a result, add 2 to the rolls on the journey events table. Additionally, rolls made to determine the initial outcome of these encounters should be made with advantage. So make a note that the first roll that you'll make in an encounter will be at advantage, and I'm going to make a note that I'll add 2 to the journey events table, seeing as you guys have gotten off to such a good start. So I mean, it's really one of these things where you guys set up with so much sort of like heart and spirit back again. You know, it's good to be back with the team. You know, it's good to be back with your friends after having traveling either alone for a while or just together. You have been lessened by the loss of Teasel, which nonetheless remains sort of present in your minds. But you can't help but feel like she's still with you when the group of you are all together. And there's something about leaving the Eastleigh Inn and Dodie and the rest of the hobbits behind that reminds you of her in the best way that you can be reminded of someone that's passed. So you go off to a good start as you set off. For Buffy, you are you're in high hopes for the honey alternatives that you've been coming up with. Now that you're back with Belagorn, this is a chance to really collaborate on the project after both of you doing research and collaborating from afar isn't ideal. It's been long distance.
Like the weirdest alchemy project.
Right, yeah. Some weird science is going to be happening with honey. For Jameis, you don't... right. Yeah, and for Jameis, it's a case where he hasn't been to the High Pass. There's going to be some good information here for Minas Tirith, no doubt. And despite the fact that he's a bit of a lone ranger in the past, there's something warming about being back with these companions that you spent so long with. For Belagorn, you spent a long time with the people of Woodland Hall, who are a rougher kin and folk than these friends here. And settling down for a long time, which while nice for Belagorn has been enjoyable, there's something to be said about being back on the road again, about being in an adventure, and the possibility of what might happen along the road.
He's certainly invigorated by the thought of learning something new, and especially like all of these wonderful things that Buffet is able to show us, just like on our first little day of walking. Just like, oh my God, we would have never seen that if we weren't traveling with you. Like, I came through here yesterday, and we didn't even see that.
And it's like if you look at the particular way this bark is growing on the trees, you will be able to see that it's leading you to the like nearest source of water and like little weird things like that.
He's very excited about it. So I have a couple of questions. Is it possible to acquire a short bow? Or actually, maybe even I think Belagorn might even. I think actually short bow would probably be what he has.
The woodland folk are extremely talented hunters and wood folk in general. So yeah, you'd have been frustrated one the first day you got there, probably.
Conveniently enough, it's 25 silvers. So I'll just say that I'll purchase it with Belagorn's.
There you go. Yeah.
Boulder share, yeah. All right.
Awesome.
There we go.
Yeah, any other little bits of sort of housekeeping in terms of equipment that you might have needed to get? You have had 1 year to get them since last week, didn't you? So it's assumed you would have picked them up.
I figure he
I'm
picked
not gonna
back
be
up
that
his the 2 torches that he used in Mirkwood and things
guy.
like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, then there you go. Oh, yes, what wonderful sights we've been shown.
Yes. Okay, so as you guys set off on your journey, let's have the first roll on the journey events table. And I think this is, it says that the Lawmaster should run it, but I think this will be more fun if I pick at random one of you guys. So let's start with our guide. Buffy, what do you roll me a D12? And we'll see what kind of event happens. And we have a +2 to this because you're after such an auspicious start.
That would be a 12 total then.
My lord, you guys can't stop rolling. The absolute nuts. Okay, so 12. I like this one. Many meetings, fly, you fools, is all this one's called. The company has encountered a traveler upon the road, but all may not be as it first appears. This is no ordinary wanderer, but rather is one of the great and good, or fell, of Middle-earth. This will be a significant encounter, not soon forgotten. Whether the meeting is for good or ill, you may get XP for this. So yes, I know who this is. So as you wait, if you rolled, okay, the lookout must make me a perception check at this point.
First roll.
You got this, Gond.
With
advantage.
First roll is at advantage for each of these encounters.
I love the journey system so much.
Yeah.
Wait.
It adds so much more intrigue to the like long days of passing where you're just walking and talking and camping.
And better than just like a table of stuff, like they're fully fleshed out kind of encounters. Yeah.
The DC for this journey is 13, by the way, so that is a success for famous.
Glad I put expertise in that.
Yeah, so you spot this traveler along the road, and the great and good of Middle-earth are not the kind of folk who travel and reveal themselves openly. Talks of he goes here and there, they say. So Saruman wouldn't just walk about like, hey, I'm Saruman. So you notice a traveler along the road. It's me, kind of a big deal.
It's
you
your
just travel
boy,
over it.
Sarah.
He seems to be wrapped in a large brown patchwork woolen cloak. Walks of a gnarled wooden staff in a hand, and there's an aura about him. It seems as though the birds of the forest follow this man as he steps. The insects and creatures in the grass seem to turn their heads to look at him as he passes by, somewhat innocuously along the road. You weren't on a direct sort of collision course with this person. You weren't heading to meet one another, but Jameis has spotted this traveler.
Jameis is the type of traveler, if he sees anyone, he would call out, because either he wants to make sure they know he sees them, or that, make sure that they know that they're there, because we're not sneaking around. So he just wants to make sure there's no misunderstandings on the road. And so he would call out, "Ark! Who goes there?"
The traveler stops and turns to look back at you, and starts moving towards you. "Hail, friend! Just walking along the road. Humble traveler. Who might you all be?"
Are we all there?
Well,
Buffet.
I'm Jameis of Minas Tirith.
Belagorn.
We're friends
What
of
brings
these
you
parts.
down this path?
The birds and the bees and the creatures of the forest. You can roll me an insight check.
Let's see here. This is
7.
24.
This
We're like,
yeah. This fellow, as he draws closer, you see the birds have not only been following him, but they've been laying a nest in his hat, and returning into it, and then ducking back out of it to return food and more twigs. The odor of this man is that of the woods creatures, and probably a mushroom here or there as well. This can surely be no other person other than Radagast Brown, one of the very few wizards of Middle Earth. Rosgobel is far south of here, but he is headed southwards, so it could be the case that Radagast has been traveling farther afield, and is traveling back home to his village. And what brings you here, friends? It's often, it's uncommon to see travelers such as yourselves on the roads these days. So few.
that it is. The roads are perilous these days. So we are investigating that.
Indeed, we were missing people in the High Pass.
About this high.
Yes, the hobbits. The innkeep has asked us to inquire and look into his brother.
I haven't seen anyone, I'm afraid, but I tend not to walk these roads. See many people. Aren't too many travelers here, and mostly the birds are the ones that speak. At least they speak the truest. Sometimes the butterflies as well. They know the most.
Have they seen anything?
Always. Yes, that's why I found myself up here in the first place, in fact. I heard a word from insect to a butterfly, to a bird, and then to an eagle, and it said that there was mischief abound in Mirkwood yet again, and so I found my way here. The darkness continues to grow. Has not yet reached my home, but 'twill not be long, I fear, before it will, and then all creatures, squirrels, mice, birds too, will suffer. Have you traveled to the Mirkwood yourselves?
Last year, through the northern.
We have.
Aye.
You found the same darkness there, I fear, that I have.
The shadow has spread, yes.
There, and reports of orcs in the mountains of Mirkwood.
I see. That is troublesome news indeed. I sensed something similar. The shadow holds itself upon the Mirkwood and never has, but its shadow deepens. I hope you find this friend of yours, whether or not he went to the Mirkwood or further afield. There are plenty of strange folk around these days, and they are not to be trusted, I fear.
Yes.
Not even
Well-
the animals are safe nowadays. It's truly a dark time.
Ah, one of the Beorning. It has been long since I have seen one of your kind or met with Beorn. A good man.
Still standing strong as far as I know. Still looking out like the fierceness of a bear that he is.
Ah, yes. The strength of a bear, but also the lack of wisdom and judgment that a creature such of his intelligence would hold as well. Nonetheless, a good man. But sometimes keen to anger and violence, I fear. You should be careful of that within you as well.
Sometimes it's the violence that keeps us alive. If only the rabbit had the fierceness of a bear.
Ah, but you forget the humble hare, who can still box but does not kill. There are other ways to solve these problems. I hope that you and I both can find them. For if we cannot, then surely we will fall to the shadow again.
Maybe with a balance of the two, we can find true peace in Middle Earth once again.
Quite.
Let's hope we live that long.
Yeah.
Well, I bid you good luck on your journey then, my friends. Should you ever find yourself at Rosgobel, I am returning there shortly. You would be welcome there to speak with me and to my kin. We have great knowledge, and while we do not have the strength for violence, aggression of their Beornings, we do have something of our own knowledge and compassion. They are much overlooked these days, but I still find them to be the best of things.
I have newly acquired residence in Roscobel myself. I hope to return there shortly, as the troubling reports of orcs and worse in southern Mirkwood I feel needs attending to, and have a special sense of responsibility about it. I hope we meet again.
I feel the same responsibility to the woods. You must then be the stranger who has been staying with my woodland folk. I've heard
Indeed.
good things about you.
Thank you. I have similarly heard good things about a certain absent herbalist, friend of the animals.
Yes. Well, do not forget then, friendship. That is what you must hold to, even on dark paths that you may be treading soon. Although I feel as though you already know that. Something holds itself over the group of you like a cloud. A storm came recently, and then passed suddenly, leaving in its wake desolation from which you are still repairing.
Yes. Your reputation does you well. There was a passing and there was a wake. We have lost a friend. But we soldier on, remembering our mutual friend. It gives us strength.
You will not forget. And there will be another friend. In equally as strange form as your last. But I am one to speak. The squirrel jumps from his shoulder. Ah, he likes you. Well, I must be on my way. I'm sure we will meet again.
I would hope so.
Look forward to it. Good journeys to you. And safe travels.
Yes.
To you. And the wizard
Stay safe, friend.
moves along his way. Capricious and strange, but the creatures follow with him. And all of you can remove 1 point of shadow.
Oh, sweet.
Simply by having come across the wizard Radagast. You add a +1 to your next arrival roll as well.
Nice.
Really come in handy.
As we depart, Beligorn will read his favorite passage from Teasel's copy. I don't actually have a copy of Hobbit anymore. But he, sort of heartened by the talk of friendship and of the things that will see them through these dark times, he sort of like has a bit of a walk-in read, and will read any other passages to James or Buffet if they like.
Additionally,
Bellacorn's our own audiobook on the long journey.
new sponsors, audible.com. But additionally, you are now able in your next fellowship phase to ask a audience of Radagast. So now that you've met him, you may open it up, which will come in handy. Usually that only happens through great acts or like finishing a quest which helps out a group or faction. You can't just go to the Dwarves of Erebor and say, hey, make me your friend. So that's a pretty useful thing to keep in mind for your next fellowship.
Anything to keep us from reducing our shadow levels.
Yes, that's damn handy actually. Yeah. So let's have, in that case, our next D12 for the second event from Easterly Inn to Old Ford. Jameis, why don't you roll say a D12 here, my friend?
All right.
We get to add a +2 to it. Nice.
So that'll be an 8.
Okay. You, Jameis, have spotted a location that has the potential to be a safe and comfortable place to make camp. Perhaps it's just a sheltered glade close to a freshwater stream, or maybe an existing campsite. Ooh, okay, so you spot this easily defensible location. In fact, James, it is an ancient-looking building. It is perhaps even of Numenorian design, something that hasn't yet fallen into the ground like a lot of your ancestors' buildings. So I would like you to roll me a investigation check as you draw closer, and this one is at advantage as well because it's the first one.
Sweet. Investigation.
Yep. DC is 11. So you get closer, and there is no one there, as far as you can tell. But this building is certainly a strange one, and it looks like it hasn't been touched by travelers. There are no signs of a campsite, no signs of like an old fire or any pieces of equipment laying around or anything like that. You step into the halls alone, Jameis, and you recognize this building to be of a time when Isildur lived and ruled as a yes, Isildur, lot of fun. Whenever that no, but as you step into this, Isildur is from the Minister are from a similar line, right? There's a lot of ancestry going on there, and there is a weakness amongst men, which Jameis certainly shares, as Isildur is this constant reminder of what it is to sort of fall to weakness and corruption. And there's a statue inside it's now chipped away. It looks like there's some like graffiti on it as well. Maybe goblins were here once, of Isildur. And Jameis has a moment in which he contemplates his sort of weaknesses. And you can roll me a wisdom saving throw. It's to resist corruption, but if you succeed on it, you will lose a point of shadow.
Boom.
Good. So you can tell me what Jameis sees in Isildur, but whatever it is, he removes an extra point of shadow.
He looks at Isildur and is reminded of his father. His father, who, a man of Minas Tirith himself, but he gave in to the drink. It consumed him as he consumed it. And he always, he always thought, he finally got comfortable around drinking once he became an adult. But it was always something that he thinks about. And anytime he drinks any kind of mead or whatever, he thinks of his father. And like, if I have one more, will I become him? It's right there at the edge of his thoughts. And so, yeah, that's what he contemplates when he looks upon this statue.
Yeah. And then, you cast it aside and it's nothing more than a statue. You put it out of your mind. It's ancient history now, long lost. And the White City is far greater than Isildur's weaknesses. That much you are certain of. And notwithstanding, this place is a good place for a rest for the night. So would you like to stay here, or would Jameis want to press on?
I think Jameis would recommend, it'd be one of those things where there'd be this weird long pause as he would ask a halt to the travels, and he would take more time than you would think to look at this place, but we should stay here. It will be a good respite from the travels, and we'll be able to redouble our efforts when we continue the journey tomorrow.
Belagorn looks up from reading. Oh, Numorian ruin from Isildur's time.
It is an ancient place. I figured you would like it.
Well, I know choice tidbits from this part of the world, but we can discuss history later. And, he kind of is like giddy with, going poking around this place for a minute. He's got spring in his step.
The statue is an ancient one. It's obviously one. There are many of its kind, as Isildur is often depicted in the same way, basically, as the ruling king. The statue has been defaced a long time ago. It possibly means as much to Belagorn as it does to Jameis in a similar way, because the Dunedain are, that's a direct sort of
from
bloodline. Yeah, bloodline link. So would this have a similar sort of effect on Belagorn, or is that less part of him?
He's grown up with the stories, and I mean, if he's seen the images of Isildur that are at Rivendell, right? Like the images of him after he'd acquired the ring, and of a tragic figure. So I think for Belagorn, Isildur is less of like this, represents like a golden age or something, and more represents the hubris of that age, in thinking that they could use the enemy's weapon and try to do good with it. And so I think for him, it's more of a, that's sad and tragic, but less, he probably regards it for a second and then moves on. Really probably more interested in the defacings and what they did and like who did it and was it recent kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's like taking notes on.
It's recent as it probably happened in the last decade. It is, you would guess, because there's so many Bayonings in the area, it is most likely done by Bayonings. They are not a, they do not love outsiders. And certainly Isildur represents an order of civilization which they would see as unsanctimonious. Maybe even they might think that as like totalitarian.
I was gonna say like this a Numenorian ruin like this would be like a frontier outpost almost, right?
Right. It's probably an echo of a of a lingering
foreign idols.
Sure.
Yeah. It's on their land, so maybe it's a surprise that it's even still standing, but it would probably have taken them more time to bother to try and take something like this down. And it probably serves as like a resting spot for plenty of people.
I think then that after regarding the statue momentarily and probably just remarking on something not like that could be taken as cynical, but is maybe not, this. Then I think Belagorn is going to go. He's like, I think oftentimes these had cellars. Not as hidden. Look, I'm going to check the flagstones, and he's just going to kind of poke around this place, and will really be distracted for probably the rest of the thing, unless somebody's like, "You got to make camp, help us gather wood or something." He's distracted.
Oh yeah, Jameis knew what he was doing when he picked this place. He knew Belagorn would be giddy, and so he goes off and he collects wood and starts helping set up camp and start a fire and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. You sit down for the evening, set a fire. Belagorn's busily inspecting the flagstones of this place. Buffy, you're deep into the honey recipes. He doesn't find a cellar, unfortunately, which is certainly a shame.
Or it was here.
Yeah, right. But you can't help, as you sit down for the evening, you can't help all turning your attentions to the ancient history of this place. And whatever the Numenorians and Isildur means to you, whether that as a Beoning means something like these people who ruled our territories unjustly, or for Gon's relationship with his father, or the hubris that it reminds Belagorn of, your attentions turn to an age long forgotten, perhaps especially after having met is the word I was looking for, Radagast earlier on your journey. It's really hard for me today. I tried to say Dorslat and I wanted to say Dorslut. I tried to say wrench and I said wench. I mean, there's a lot of Freudian slips there.
The mask is slipping.
Winches and sluts, Will. Winches and sluts. That's going to be your game you make.
Oh, I will be destroyed.
No wench slaving here. We don't do wench slaving.
Sure. Dungeons and Dragons meets never mind.
Yeah. Sounds like a healthy bachelor party you're planning.
Remarkable how often the industries overlap. So the two, the three of
Buffy will definitely have that vast reminder of the weakness of man and the duplicitous nature of it while she's in this area, and she's kind of trying her best to focus on the good, having been heavily reminded of that. If anything, I think this relic from Days Forgotten probably brings up some of the differences between you guys again, because Buffy, you don't look at this so much, but Gond and Belagorn are both. Actually, I don't know if Belagorn has revealed the fact that he's a Dunedain. He may have done to you.
I don't think he has yet.
He hasn't. Yeah. So certainly Gond is a living symbol of what this ancient civilization was. So I don't know if that brings up any tensions in particular, but it does serve as a reminder about it.
I think at some point, Beligorn might come back. Couldn't find anything in there. They're all churned up, or animal spore everywhere. Buffet, can you tell me what these mean? This is Beorning, right? And he just wants to know what they mean. Like, what kind of curses are they? Is it obscene? Is it playful? Is it,
Right.
But he'll use it as a minute to just kind of like try to connect and see how she sees this place is different.
I think as Buffet starts to like look over all of these like markings, it's basically going to be a lot of things of like outsider, traitor, words like that. Nothing too strong, but definitely a harsh dislike. And she'll explain to Beligorn that basically like, well, it's unwelcomed here. These are not the proudest of man that we believe in. Everything we stand for, and this idol sprouted in our area. It's a falsehood, I tell you.
I can see that. He is tested, like many men are not tested, but was found wanting, ultimately.
With
great strength comes a great weakness.
Many times, yes. Many times.
They go hand in hand.
I wonder, it's curious that it even still stands. Well, I think
We cannot forget our weaknesses. If we forget them, then we are no better than Isildur himself.
Too true. Too true. Well, I think that's good a time as any to rest and get some sleep. And he'll sort of like reflect on what Buffet said about, this idea of power and vulnerability being sort of like going hand in hand, and also like not forgetting it or trying to cover it up. Especially that second part, because that really drives a lot of Beligorn's desire to know about what's going on in the dark places of Middle-earth.
Okay. So, didn't mean to do that. So the group of you do get a chance to rest. However, the slightly uneasy nature of the rest leads to the group of you gaining a level of exhaustion as you ponder in this safe and yet at the same time disquieting place that isn't quite comfortable, let's say, to stay in.
Wake up with that like ache, like
Right.
Gonna make a tea. I don't think I can deal. I don't think I can do anything with exhaustion yet. But
did you slip some honey in last night's dinner? I don't feel good.
No, honey. No. I may have tried to sneak some of the barley in.
Okay.
But there's no honey in barley. Like,
It was an experiment, okay?
All right.
there's a time and a place for experimentation.
So you think that time is on the road?
And it's in Isildur's ruins, all right?
While we're ruined at the mercy of the elements and our shared collective history.
It's at a culturally sensitive location, okay? That's oh, dear. So, as you guys get up and set about the final part of your journey, you hear the heavy, strong, rushing water of the Anduin, even before you can see this massive river, one of the massive rivers, the great rivers, I guess, which cuts its way through almost all of Middle-earth. And we now have our arrival roll for our first leg of the journey. So the guide is Buffy, rolls a D8, and we add a +1 to this roll.
All right.
It's worth noting for anybody who hasn't familiar with Middle-earth, Anduin is what they cross at the end of Fellowship before they get to Amon Hind. Right,
Yeah.
like that's the
You've got the two dudes with the...
yeah, it's got the two dudes who are like
Yeah, there's a name for that.
The two dudes who are just like,
I don't have resin statues of those, not 5 feet from where I'm sitting. Come on.
What was the plus to this, sorry?
+1. +1.
Okay, so that's a 6 total.
6 total. This is very fitting, I feel. You arrive grimly determined. The many leagues that the company has traveled have filled them with a sense of clear purpose regarding their goals, dark though the path may be. As a result, you receive a +1 bonus to your next embarkation roll. So, despite the shadow which weighs upon you, and in fact has been removed from you for the most part, your spirits have been lifted through travel together once again. The possible darkness of the road ahead is never too far from your thoughts, because it was the first adventure you'd ever gone upon together. And it was arguably one of the best of you, if not the best of you, that was taken before. Certainly in terms of spirit and sort of goodness, let's say. You would all, I think, self-admit that Teasel was innocent in ways that you are not, and so there's a darkness there which never feels too far away. But as you get to the Anduin, you see this massive rushing river which cuts its way across. But the old ford, however, is one of the only passes that you can safely travel. Once you're across the river, however, there are going to be marshes, and in some places that will be supported by piled stone, and other places that old road has succumbed to bog, and you know this much through just having traveled in Middle-earth. But the old ford itself is kept by Beornings. They look to have a way across. It's like an old stone bridge, which is there, which they look to be keeping. And they've spotted you by the time that you spot them. These 4 keen-eyed, rugged-looking Beornings, who are at the best of times distrusting of travelers. And one of them calls out, "Hark! Who goes there?"
I speak a tidbit of Beorning through just like a greeting, right? So, it's we are travelers headed south and we seek to cross. We are looking for Dindy from the Easterly Inn. He's gone missing.
He looks the 3 of you sort of up and down. Says, "You carry weapons?"
Only what we need to defend ourselves with.
You can roll me a... Yeah.
There are shadows everywhere.
Well, this bridge is not our land. We simply let people pass through. Don't stop any but the foulest of creatures, orcs and goblins, that sometimes find their way down here, and then we kill them. You do not strike us as... Aye, a band of them, not 2 weeks ago. We killed most, but more are to the west, so if you travel that way, you best be on the lookout. And there are fouler things there as well. There's a darkness upon the land, a blight. Some creature sets its will against the land there, and travelers as well. Let us hope your friend did not fall prey to them. And then if you reach the high pass, you've got the goblins to deal with as well. And their king.
Goblins
If you
do
wish to
not
turn
stand a
back.
chance against us.
He looks you up and down, recognizing that you're a Beorning, and says, "You may pass for free, but for the rest of you, the toll is 5 copper pieces. So it's to keep these lands safe. As Beorn and our people keep these lands clear of goblins."
Very good. And I'll pay.
Would you accept honey cakes in the form of payment?
Always. It's been too long since we've been back to Beorn's Hall. We have not tasted the fine delights of the honey cakes in some time. You all like
I've got
honey cakes,
7
right?
different kinds.
They're amazing.
Of course, we all like honey cakes. I'll roll a deception if you need me to. I do
But
have
not
an
absolutely
expertise.
parts if you don't like honey cakes, yeah.
But God, as he's strolling by, he'll flip a silver penny out to him.
Yeah, he'll take it with appreciation. They don't look like they're holding people up here, and anything you know about the Beornings is that they do kill goblins and fouler things, and probably even brigands and evil men that would find their way here as well to keep their land safe. As the Old Ford is probably the point where most people would cross. Certainly you can cross the Anduin in other ways, but anyone that's sane would come here, or Stony Ford. Maybe.
One of the fun things about being a slayer is we essentially cut through wolves and goblins like straw and feathers. So, I'm ready.
Excellent. Okay. So the Beornings let you pass on the bridge and say, "Best of luck, friends. If you can't be of any help once you're across this bridge,
It's all right.
there are a few friends and allies that far west."
Is there anyone out there we should that you want us to keep an eye out for?
None as such. But there have been other travelers that have gone missing. It may be that they have been fallen prey to whatever lurks in the swamps west of here. Or it could be that the goblins have been holding them up. I'm not
What
sure
is it?
exactly.
And what is it that lurks in the swamp?
I can't say for sure. It's some creature of shadow, though. That much I can say. We don't travel that far, so what we hear is the rumors and talk. But
Thank you for the warnings.
if there is a place where people are fighting out there and trying to defend themselves, it'd be the Ring Fort. That's old fortification, close to High Pass. If there are people still alive, they're trying to fight for their lives, that's where I'd go.
The Ring Fort.
Aye.
Thank you.
Safe travels, friends.
May the strength of the bear stay with you.
And you. Now, as we begin the next journey, which is from the Old Ford to the High Pass, the peril rating for this journey is 2. So we have another embarkation roll to make, but you have a +1 to the embarkation as well. So for Buffy, assuming that we're keeping all the rolls the same, there's any reason to change. Buffy rolls a D12 plus your survival bonus plus half your wisdom bonus +1.
That will come to a total of 12.
A total of 12. Goodness gracious. Let's see what kind of a start. Is that another auspicious start? Oh, -2 from the peril rating. So it's 10.
Oh, okay, then that'll be 10.
Yeah. Embarkation rolls, please. Navigating a PDF. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. You are hidden from the shadow. Though agents of the shadow roam far and wide, and dangers may be found anywhere in Middle-earth, Buffy has wisely chosen a path that will conceal you from the attentions of all but the most determined and alert of foes. In addition, your company seems more aware of your own surroundings and will likely spy out both trouble and opportunities upon the path. As a result, we modify all results on the journey event table by +1, and the first roll during each encounter may be made with advantage. Now, being aware of the possible dangers and enemies of Shadow, which lurk in the west middle vales of Middle-earth, you're on the lookout for what this dark creature Shadow might be, and any bands of goblins that the Beornings have not yet managed to destroy, perhaps because they haven't dared travel this far east. And as you travel, we have our events. So why don't you, Belagorn, roll us on the events table today, which is just a D12.
D12, and then we're adding 1 from Hidden
+1
Shadow.
to the...
Ooh, 3.
Okay.
Time for some action.
Hey, it's 3 is our obstacle. So, you will see. In fact, it's no obstacle in the sense of, when you ran into the Mirkwood before, you ran into the river, which was troublesome, and you couldn't get the ponies across. Here, you find that the marsh and the bog becomes almost insufferable to you as you leave Lianduin behind and step through this much more marshy terrain. It's very hard going underfoot. It's the hobbits in I think the Fellowship deal with this with the biting gnats and ants, which continue to surround them. These creatures are only too happy to eat you for dinner. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, basically, as you travel through here. Great swarms of gnats fly around you and continue to bite and pester you for the journey. Your feet often slip into the murky, muddy waters of the swamp, and your heavy traveling boots often find themselves clogged with water and mud and sludge as you continue the journey forwards. It looks like for miles to go, you're in this sort of awful place, and it's quite disheartening. The only good thing is at this time you don't have Baldor or Belgo or any ponies to bring with you. You certainly would not try and bring any burdens of beasts of burden through here, rather.
So Belagorn will ties him around his face. He's got the hat, bundles himself up for the thing, using his quarterstaff to navigate this gross, disgusting thing. Well, if we should keep an eye out for, something. And is it possible to actually be looking for tracks or anything? I mean, I know in this sort of wet ground, it'd be difficult, but he just wants to see what he can see, what the land can tell him.
Yeah. You could roll me a survival check to check for tracks, and I'd like everybody to roll a constitution check, rather, as you're headed for the swamp and with the gnats around you as well.
Is that an advantage?
The first roll is at advantage, I believe, right?
Yeah, I didn't know if it was
Goodness for that.
That's okay.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Boom.
Ooh, that's more like it.
Spend some time outside.
What'd you get there, Buffy?
I got a 16. 16 in total there.
Nice. That's a success from 2 of you. So you don't end up getting the best results. You don't actually. You could have removed a level of exhaustion if James had succeeded, but unfortunately, you sort of remain the same. So you're still exhausted as traveling. The heaviness of your packs and equipment weighs upon you. Belagorn, you do see tracks through the marshes. Unfortunately, they're not in such great length that you can make out exactly, following a path or a trail, because the mud gets churned over so often. And you occasionally lose tracks in when it comes to waterlogged and that kind of thing. But it's clear to you that this area, at least, is well traveled, in that people seem to be even bringing beasts of burden through here, rather. So Dindy wouldn't have been the only merchant who comes his way to High Pass to sell and to buy wares as well.
Sure. Any
Nothing
sign of
strikes you as like a goblin or a troll or anything.
That was my other question. Is there something, even if it's just like a footprint or something, that he could get a little bit of understanding of?
It's difficult to tell. There's certainly nothing as like big as a troll. A goblin's or an orc's footprint maybe wouldn't stick out immediately, other than perhaps the shape of their shoes. There's nothing which would be like mailed, which you've heard. Goblins would travel with sort of mailed boots, armored.
Right. Nothing as big as, like you said, a troll or anything like that.
Right. That would certainly be something you'd notice straight away. But it is in places like the Wilderlands that trolls and stranger things could live. Okay.
He's just trying, he probably spends most of that time just running through his mind what might be here, and but keeping most of his thoughts to himself. Yeah.
Okay. Then let's have Buffy roll us our second and final journey event for this second journey.
That will be a 12 this time.
A 12 this time. Okay, the scout rolls me a perception check. And the scout is... Oh, we don't have a scout. So this roll is actually a disadvantage, which cancels out the advantage. So, straight.
I'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, natural 20.
I wish I could do this on my advantage rolls. I haven't rolled above a 9 with advantage today, but I've rolled 2 20s.
Okay, so as you look out, it's growing dark. You're starting to think about finding a place to rest. You come across a region marked by ancient walls and ruined arches. Most of these walls look like they fell long ago and are hardly more than 2 or 3 stones piled on top of each other. But it's clear from marks in the ground and the old lines in the path that a town once stood here. This is clearly some kind of mannish town. I'll let you roll a history or lore check on that, actually, Belagorn. But it looks to have long been cast away. However, you, Jameis, of your natural 20, see something in the darkness. It is a flicker of a shadow for a moment out the corner of your eye that you spot something haunting, something humanoid perhaps in shape that moves itself across from the wall, and you see that it is looking at you. You make out 2 baleful yellow eyes peering out of the darkness towards you and then disappearing into inky darkness once again. And for just a second you saw it, and this area of ground is perhaps the marshiest, most entrenched in bog area of land. There are a few trees in the area that the creature seemed to have been lurking along as well. It seemed like it was of little substance, shied away when it saw that it spotted you. But most certainly this creature is something evil. As for you, Belagorn, your history check reveals that this is ruins of a mannish town, probably built somewhere in the Third Age, early in the Third Age. Those cities only lasted a brief span of years because the necromancer's reach grew long and tore them down, and then the woodmen returned to the wild. The road leads to what must once have been a wide square in the heart of the town. For the marks of fire pits, other travelers have made camp here in the past. And there's even a mountain brook nearby to provide water. It looks like a good site, but the eerie feeling that you get as you enter this place speaks to an evil which lingers here still.
The shadow has been cast over this place for a while.
Yes, places like this.
And as Jameis talks to Belagorn, like, you might notice, like, he's staring at a very particular spot in the distance.
You see
be on alert. There's something. I just saw eyes. Eyes in the dark.
Well, I think that investigating might be in order. Where did you see them?
Whatever it is. We're ready.
Just there at the edge of the trees.
Good. And there's like the ruined foundations and things like that. Like, what's the state of the town?
Ruined walls. Most of the buildings have fallen down. As mentioned, the necromancer destroyed them long ago. There's a few trees which mark their way, and there's the square, which is where Jameis basically spotted the shadow for a moment. It looks like this place could have even burned down long ago, but it's so long ago that it's impossible to know whether or not it really burnt down. It's just like fallen into the bog.
Right. Well, I doubt that there's much here, but looking around, if there's a creature which lairs here, as the Beornings at the fort said, then it might be where Dindy ended up.
It's true.
We should at least look around and make sure that there's no sign of him.
Yes. And Jameis, he pulls his bow off his back, gets an arrow, ready to go.
It's nighttime, or
yes, it's grown late, and so there is certainly a perpetual darkness to this place, which seems to enhance the gloom that you felt moments before arriving here. It's certainly night, and the moon is bright this evening.
Okay. In that case, if we don't need it, I won't light a torch. If there's enough moonlight that we can kind of navigate and not fall in a hole or something like that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Buffet. Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't need a torch. My eyes have adjusted.
Okay.
And Buffet at this stage, because of our level up last week, now has vigilant senses. So she's able to detect nearby enemies or ambushes by having an advantage on her perception checks.
Oh, cool.
Roll me the perception.
All right. In that case, I'll start. If you want to take the lead, Jameis, we'll follow, and let's just poke around and be on guard. And he'll have his quarterstaff out. And
that looks like a nat 20. Looks like a nat 20 face to me.
Oh yeah.
The first roll was a 4, but then I was like, oh wait, advantage.
This place.
You always kiss your axe when you get nat 20, right?
Yeah, right. I knew immediately because that's what I always do. This place, like I say, oozes with an ambush. Is a perfect place for something to be lying in wait. Furthermore, though, you actually spot by one of the trees with the nat 20 someone who looks to be semi-submerged in the muddy banks of the river, which is close to the square. They most certainly couldn't be alive for the position that they're lying in. Wouldn't be comfortable for anyone living to do that whatsoever. It looks like someone died here recently. You're too far away to make out exactly who that might be. It looks to be a person. Doesn't strike you as being a hobbit's body, but you'd have to get closer to be certain.
Buffy's gonna let out like a little like light whistle and nod her head in the direction of the body half submerged.
And she sees Jameis like give a nod, and he kind of motions like he'll move around to the side and cover you. And you see him kind of flank around.
And she'll slowly start to go towards this body cautiously.
I'll follow Buffy.
She'll probably, when she gets close enough, poke it with her axe.
Yeah.
And like
Dead.
attempt to turn it over.
Yeah, you pull out the body from the water and mud, and it's a man. Only the sort of remains of the body, where it looks like it's been shredded apart, really remains. And you notice now, the closer that you are, that several of these bodies seem to be floating in the water. And in a rather horrific fashion, you see several of their faces sort of come up to the surface, and you make out many dead faces of victims here who have been slaughtered by whatever this shadow is. And at the same time, as you discover this gruesome sight, you hear a shrill shriek of a creature of pure evil. You turn around and you see the thing of shadow haunting the remains of this warrior who clearly once fell into corruption. It has a spear with a wicked-looking barbed head, and it moves towards you with a swiftness unknown to mortals. And we can roll some initiative. Oh yeah.
It's so white. All right.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. All right. Big 9.
Okay, this guy's at +2 to his dex. Beauty. So we have
11 here.
Forget about this.
So he's behind us?
He came from behind you. It shouldn't wait, like statistically. Okay, he's always in this combat. Remove her from the 10 trigger. 11 on initiative, 9 for you. Buffy on the 14.
Yeah.
Let's reset this. No. Okay, so Buffy, what's your thingy? Your initiative bonus, your dexterity bonus, sorry.
2.
Amazing. So Ty goes to the creature because he's, I don't know, he's sprung up from behind you guys. Alright, so a spear in his hand, and is going to move towards Buffy to attack with the wicked-looking spear and try and catch you unawares. And it rolled a natural 1. Maybe my streak is over. Yeah, not so hot. Not so hot. Okay. In that case, it misses you by quite a margin. Clearly not quite accustomed to the. Actually, do you guys have any light sources with you at the moment?
No, we were using moonlight. Maybe it's like like Belagorn was behind Buffet, and like at the last minute pulls her out of the way of his spear as it sort of like thrusts. He's like, wait, it's not that body we need to worry about.
Okay. So
Fight with the living, not the dead.
that's Buffy's turn.
All right. How far away is this spear thrower?
He is within 5 feet of you because he's right next to you.
All right, then Buffy's gonna take. She's gonna use her battle fury. So a bit of a rage just kind of comes over her, and deadly precision. And she does not like the fact that somebody tried to get them from behind, a dishonorable way to fight someone. And yeah, she will immediately slash her axe as deep into their head as possible.
Okay, give that a roll.
All right, that will be... because I'm using Battle Fury, I gain a bonus to the damage roll, and it lasts for a minute. So that's I get to add 2 to my roll,
So
which would make it a 50.
Damage roll.
It would probably be the damage roll. All right, so I got a 14 then.
14 is still a hit. Yeah.
Okay.
So now
cool.
you get 2 extra damage.
Sweet. And I believe axes tend to be a D6, or is it D4?
We talked about this last time. I've forgotten already. What kind of axe you wielding? Hand axe?
Yeah, hand axe.
Hand axe is a D6 slashing.
D6, cool. Sorry, I always forget. Hey, that'll be an 8 then.
8 damage. Okay. As you cut into what is really just wraith-like clothing and armor, which isn't quite corporeal, you sense that your axe sort of passes through some of the creature, and it doesn't have the weight to the hits that you're normally used to feeling. This creature is resistant to your attack. Nonetheless, it does take some damage. Okay. So that is Jameis Gond. Jameis, you spring into action.
Yes, I was moving up to flank and cover Buffet, and so I'm going to move up to a low wall and attempt to hide first to make sure I can try to get the best out of this attack as possible. So with my bonus action and cunning action, that's a dirty 20
Nice.
to hide.
Yep.
So that'll give me advantage on my bow attack.
Nice.
And still have it rolled above a 9 with advantage. So it's 14 to hit. Does that hit?
14 is going to hit, however.
Awesome. But that'll still give me my damage plus my sneak attack. So it's going to be 5 plus an additional 1. So 6 damage as an arrow streaks out of the dark.
As the arrow flies from behind the wall from Jameis Gond's bow, it again seems to wound the creature as it passes through, but does nonetheless pass all the way through the creature's shadowy body, and it becomes Belagorn's turn.
So Belagorn has his virtue is Dauntless Guardian, which allows him to sort of like sense wraiths and ghosts and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's like, we're walking through this village, and it's only until that last minute they realize, like, oh, this isn't a creature. This is like a one of the the nightmarish minions of the necromancer. So it says I get a DC 15 lore roll for just like more information about the monster. It doesn't say if that's an action or not.
No, that shouldn't be an action. You can roll that.
Let's see. Oh yeah, so I got 21 just to know a bit more. Are we it was looking for us like, are we effective? Are we actually doing what it needs to drive this off?
Right. It certainly is, and I'll give you something else as well. All creatures of shadow fear fire. It's true of goblins, it's true of trolls, and it's certainly true of wraiths like this.
All right, so he's gonna like as they're attacking, it's sort of like an arrow flies in and Buffet goes to attack. He's gonna just shout out that it's a wraith, and I'm gonna use my action to light my torch, and
Nice.
you know, to be, you know, don't let it touch you. don't let its weapon.
It shrieks and shies away from the fire immediately. Does not like it.
All right, so I will brandish the flame and stand
Okay.
alongside Buffet.
It's going to try and attack you, seeing as you've got the flame in your hands, but it does have a disadvantage because you have...
Great, 'cause I have an 11 AC.
disadvantage. It misses on a 6. And
Another jerkin.
it might have killed you. It stabs out into the darkness, but it can barely bear to look with its baleful yellow eyes out from the shadowy cape, and does not succeed in hitting you. Buffy, it's your turn.
All right. Buffet at this point is going to be very aware that her axe is very short range, leaning that she will be putting herself in a lot more harm to hold her weapon to attack the wraith. So she's actually going to try and attempt to like toss it at the wraith itself, and she's gonna aim at its hand, hoping it might drop its weapon.
Okay.
Bugger, that's an 8 total.
8 is a miss, unfortunately. Yep.
She'll run
Okay.
off to retrieve her axe.
Quick. Okay, Jameis.
Okay, yeah, Jameis, hearing that, he's actually going to break out his he has a pot of oil and a lantern.
Mhm.
And so he's going to actually like just take his oil and kind of grab a stick on the ground and just like try to strike a torch up, since he doesn't have torches himself, and join Belagorn in kind of surrounding this thing and, you know, kind of just shoving the flames in its face.
Absolutely. The old flame shove in the face. So do you want to make like an improvised attack, I guess, with like a torch, or do you want to shoot?
I'll just do an improvised attack with a torch.
Shoot
So that would be what would I add to that? Dex or
Plus
strength?
dex. Plus strength, but no proficiency.
Oh, well then a 10.
Oh, damn.
Maybe this wasn't a good idea. I'm worse with fire than an arrow.
It doesn't like fire. That's certainly the case, though. So it doesn't like what you're doing. You may have distracted it enough for it to attack you rather than Belagorn. Belagorn, it is your turn.
All right. So we got James beside me. He's got his torch there. I've got one. I'm gonna like Buffet. I guess you like are getting your weapon. Do you have a free hand to take a torch, and then we can each have one?
I believe so, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna try like maneuver it, and then maybe we can like each get on like sort of like keep it between the three of us maybe, and do that.
Right.
Yeah. Like that. So I'll give Buffet my torch, and then I'm going to strike up another. And if I have anything left over, I'm just going to try to not die. So.
All right.
Good plan. Solid plan.
Like quarterstaff in one hand and torch in the other, like trying to bat away his spear.
It doesn't seem to damage it in terms of it's not setting on fire or anything like that. At least James's miss didn't succeed in doing it, but it does suddenly shy it away, and it is giving it a disadvantage on its attack roll. It will try and attack Jameis because he's got a light, and that is a 14 to hit you, Jameis.
My AC is 14.
Oh, okay. Well, it's going to be a hit in that case. Luckily for you, it only deals 8 points of its magical piercing damage as it stabs you with the Wraith Blade, and it just shocks go all through your body. And Buffy, it's your turn. You're gonna have to hit this thing pretty hard.
All right. Well, we might as well stick him with the pointy end.
Mm-hmm. It's the way of things.
7.
Oh no, Jameis, what you got?
Jameis clutches at his maybe his belly where this thing stabs, and he's got his torch in his left hand, and his hand goes to the hilt of his broadsword, and he just unsheathes it and just does an upward slash at the same moment, like just in anger. So at least he has his compatriots around him, so he'll still get a sneak attack if he hits. Why didn't you roll? There it is, 24 to hit.
24 will hit.
And so that's going to be 6 plus a further 5. So that's going to be 11 damage as he just kind of lets out a and it's Tirith! And he's just,
Yeah, the creature shrieks as you drive the blade through, finding some form of substance beneath its wraith-like armor. Belagorn, he watches Jameis Gunn strikes the creature. What do you want to do?
All right. These sorts of things, bold actions required. And does he know that his fire or his staff would be more effective in this situation?
Fire. Certainly,
Right,
it is vulnerable to fire.
Yeah, he's gonna attempt to bash it up with fire. So here we go. I don't think so. That's a 6. That's a 6. Yeah, he's not a fighter. He's a scholar. So, but there he is in the mix. Fighting.
He's a lover, not a fighter. All right, the creature's going to try and stab. You tried to hit it with a torch. He's going to try and stab you, Belagorn. He has disadvantage.
All right, is he 11?
Just hits the 11, even with disadvantage. Well, you're going to take 4. 4
right.
magical damage. You rolled minimum damage, so luckily for you,
Nice.
that is the case. Okay.
Cold.
It just moves in towards you, and you feel the cold bite of the spearhead in your flesh. And Buffy, it is your turn. You're welcome.
All right. Let's give this a go. That she's going to, especially seeing the stabbing and with her battle fury also still on the go. I'm really hoping that this time she's going to really give it to him. That would be a 17 total this time. I'm hoping that hits.
17 is going to do it, yeah.
All right. All right, she's going to slash down on the arm of this wraith, and that will give a 7 in total.
Okay, 7 in total. Whittling it down. It's resistant to pretty much all of your attacks, by the way. So it's feeling like you're this thing should have been dead ages ago, but it just won't die.
She's sounding like a female tennis player right now with every attack that she's like.
You were Sharapovering pretty hard.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Sharapova is strong with this one. Grab some Anacorna cover.
Jameis.
Sorry. But yeah, Jameis, he's kind of lost a bit of his kind of composure. He's usually tries to stay on the periphery of these battles, but feeling the bite of this blade, this pure evil, he's continuing to hack at it with his broadsword. Does 14 hit?
14 is dead on the money.
Ooh, okay. So it's going to be 7 plus a further 6. Yes, 13 damage.
The creature is officially bloodied.
Nice.
Although it does not really carry with it any blood, you feel its essence is about half as strong as it was when it first began its assault upon you. And you watch as this cowardly creature, which attacks you from behind, begins to waver. And it is the turn of Belagorn, who's been trying to shove a torch in its face for some time now.
All right, let's try again. Come on, big.
That's not working.
Every time we try to attack it with fire, we fail.
I know, right?
You burn
only
your
weapon I
finger.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you know. All
Bit of
right.
your cloth.
Maybe like because it's a wraith, he like passes through it and lands and it's torched like in the mud or something. I don't know. Anyway, he's not a
Now the creature, because it starts its turn with 22 or less hit points, must make a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw, because it is a craven and cowardly.
as are all creatures of the shadow.
Fight. It fails. Its Wisdom saving throw, and as it shudders due to the amount of torches near it, it disengages. In fact, it was going to dash from you. It's going to dash, giving you all a chance to take an attack of opportunity against it as it flees into darkness.
Oh, come on.
And if anyone wants to throw a torch
Yes.
into its face, then now is the
Throw a
time.
torch. I have a much better dexterity than strength. I'm gonna throw my torch.
Pull the Strider. And
Finally.
and then the creature just whoops when it gets That's sort of
My torch goes into the mud.
just throw it down. 15's a hit for Melagorn. So 3 turns into 6. Because it is
So a torch is a D3?
Torch is a 1. It does 1 fire damage
That's a
plus
1 fire damage.
1
Plus
strength.
strength. Okay.
plus strength. Yeah, you're strong.
So that would be a 4 then, I guess.
It's not like it's a pretty flimsy piece of wood, I think.
Okay,
True.
It's not like a
it moves 60 feet away and disappears around a corner into darkness. It is still alive, although it's got out with just a couple of HP to spare. Now, that is a turn for Buffy to go. It looks like it's fled to lick its wounds, and doesn't look like it's. It looks like it's trying to just get away from you guys as fast as it possibly can, no matter the harm that comes to it. Even as it does so, perhaps it's retreating to its lair. Buffy, what do you want to do?
Buffet's gonna look at Belagorn and check how he is faring, having just been stabbed by this.
Yeah,
By
Jameis
this beast.
is perhaps even more hurt. Like, Belagorn has a nasty wound that will need tending, but how's it's? I'm like 4 of 16. How's Jameis?
Yeah.
You got
I think
lit
he's
up.
taking-
Right?
Shadow has encompassed me, as you can tell.
But I can't in
so
good
I think-
conscience allow this creature to escape.
No, it must be dealt with. And he kind of grunts through the pain.
Buffet will place an arm over her shoulder. She'll place an arm over her shoulder of James's and help him rush alongside Belagorn after the wraith.
Okay.
Hopefully not into the wraith. That would be deadly.
So you guys can. Do you want to dash? In which case you can move another 60 feet like the creature, or you can move 30 feet with just a normal move.
I would like to spend a healing die on for just like a quick bind up Jameis's wound. So that's at least an action for me. And I have 1 healing die left. So just a second. That'll be a D8 plus 3.
Nice. A good heal.
So you get back 7
almost.
for Jameis.
Yeah.
As he binds a gauze packet of herbs around the wound.
Yeah, I mean, that gets me almost back to full. Like, you know.
All right. And then,
Okay.
and I'll move.
And-
I'll move. Sorry.
Move as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Oh no! Wait, no. Never mind. Ignore. It's an exhaustion thing.
It comes back to Buffy's turn. You can roll me a perception check. See if you can spot the creature which is trying to hide in the shadows.
Okay, there's that plus. Okay, that would be a 16 total.
Okay. It rolled a 16, but it's also a little bit on fire, so you can spot it. It is hiding just behind a tree, and it looks like it's trying to be unseen there. It's still 30 feet away, so you'd have to move to attack it, or you could try and shoot it, or throw something at it. It's terribly wounded.
I guess, luckily she always comes with, like, a belt dagger as one of her lovely little Bjorning things. So, she's just gonna try and toss a dagger at it to maybe, hopefully, somewhat slow it in its path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like it's come to the end of the road.
Oof, that's a 4 total.
Not a hit. James Gond. Feeling better with Belagorn's attentions?
Yes, definitely. And he kind of takes up the chase along with Buffy. Do you need me to make a perception check as well, or does Buffy like throw in the dagger? Kind of points it out. So yeah, he's just gonna like go back. He still has his bow, and he's gonna like pull his bow out and try to pop an arrow off. But he's going to get back to his tactical senses, though. So he's going to kind of move off from Buffy's side and dive behind a wall and then pop up. So I'm going to try to do a bonus action to hide and get in a better position. Ugh, it's not a good stealth check. So let me know if I actually get advantage on this roll.
It's passive perception. Oh, I guess it would roll a perception, right? I don't know how the games work. It knows where you are.
Okay.
Let's say. So no advantage.
But I'll pop up still and loose an arrow and 17 to hit.
That's a hit.
Boom, 9 damage. So I just kind of like pop up and just like for Minas Tirith and just let it go.
How do you kill a creature?
I mean, he literally like pops up and he sees the creature looking at him dead in the eyes, and he just it doesn't waver though, and just lets the arrow go all Prince of Thieves style, and it's all in slow motion with the torches burning behind him, and the arrow just passes right between its yellow eyes.
Yeah, and it doesn't fall to the ground. It disperses like a cloud of mist as the arrow falls into it, and is clearly destroyed, but does not die like any mortal creature would or should.
It already died. We just finally put it to rest.
We should fish those bodies out of the bog and bury them. I don't think it's good for them to just be there.
You're right.
And go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, Jameis is going to look for like a long stick or a limb to kind of help with some of the ones that are deeper out in the water.
Yeah, definitely. Having successfully cosnered the Wraith, the group of you can bury the bodies. You share a home and you are, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
That's dispelled all ability checks too.
Yeah. First level exhaustion is like the worst one in a way, because like it's like, oh, we're fucked.
Disadvantage on everything you have to roll for.
right. It's like the one after that is like really fine. You're like, I don't care about having a second level. It's just having any of them. But yeah, you mentioned the buried bodies.
So
Yes.
Wait, we all have exhaustion now after that?
Yeah. Oh no, you have a level of
always
exhaustion
did,
before. Yep.
Oh,
So
okay.
disadvantage on your skill checks.
Having
Not attack rolls.
having all just had an excruciating battle, she is going to pass around her honey cakes for everyone. A barley one, Burgond. It's not honey, I swear.
And he takes it and
And she does a patch test.
it's quite good. It's quite good. And he inhales it with gusto.
Nice.
And that should get rid of a level of exhaustion.
Okay. As you bury the bodies, one of the party can roll a investigation check. This won't be a disadvantage.
All right. Yeah. Oh, awesome. And okay. Oh, 26.
Oh, baby, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
You find the ancient remains of the warrior buried in a bog. Clearly, the creature which the Night White used to come into being, thanks to the necromancer. Little is there except for bones and rags, but there are a few gemstones that might once have been a fine neck torque, and the gemstones are worth 100 silver pieces. And
Wow.
so it's certainly something worth keeping on to.
Yeah. So there was 3 of them?
No, the
Or
gemstones
just
altogether are
2?
worth.
Oh, gemstones
yeah,
altogether.
worth it.
Gotcha. So,
Would you guys
yeah,
like to rest here tonight? Is my next question for you.
I mean, it's probably late after pushing the bodies out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jameis would be comfortable sleeping here, considering we've dispatched the shadow in this area. So
Yeah, the area seems like it can breathe again, which is a strange feeling. But there's certainly you've cast out the darkness from this area, and whether it will return is something you can't be certain of. But certainly for now, it's a much better place to sleep.
The darkness always returns. And was this the creature that you saw, Jameis? In the trees?
Yeah.
I would assume yes, it is, Russ. Yep. Yes, it is. It is.
Well, good.
Dark things.
The necromancer's reach was considerable. It's worse in southern Mirkwood.
Interesting.
Yes,
Quite honestly, I had only read reports. That was it's my first experience.
The orcs and goblins of the mountains near in the middle of Mirkwood are determined. It's at least how the scouts reported it to me when I talked to them. They said there were great numbers of them gathering. It's dark times indeed.
So you guys take a rest for the evening, and resting in the ruined old town doesn't have the negative effects that you felt before in the ruins of Isildur's. Instead, you wake up and are ready for the next leg of your journey. Belagorn, on the track, you could roll me another survival check as the bog turns into more of a road, easy to traverse road.
There
Yeah,
we go.
that's a success.
4.
You find goblin tracks straight away once you're outside of the town, and a lot of them as well. There's at least 24 separate tracks that you've spotted here. And the further around the area you look, you see that there were more of them as well. It's difficult to account how many, but 200 at least is a large band of goblins to be traveling. I mean, it's not so far out of the Misty Mountains and the High Pass. They are in large numbers, but unusual, let's say, for them to be this
number.
close. Yeah,
can I tell
close.
how long ago it was that they were there?
Sometime 2 nights past. Yeah, 2 nights past is when they were here. The tracks are starting to fade, but they haven't done any work to try and cover them up. So,
okay. Well,
Will, using my weather lore ability from my background, kind of reading the signs around as we're setting out this morning, what is that important for the weather?
it's going to rain this evening, so you're going to want to find shelter before late.
Well, I think we should follow these as long as we can.
Yes.
At the very least, we might find their camp, or we might find where they're lairing and potentially, we could be on the lookout, Jameis. This many of them,
I will.
They could have a rear guard or traps laid for us. They're
Yes.
bold.
But well, they are bold to be out in these numbers. But I know how goblins will react to my blade and bow. Unlike that thing last night.
And as
I don't
go ahead.
like what we came across. That's a shadow that not many could fight. How could we ever expect anyone to live against that kind of thing wandering around in here? I fear for our friends that we're trying to find greatly.
Well, take heart that he wasn't one of the ones that we pulled out of the bog last night.
How far away from the ring fort are we?
You are close. In fact, you would go as far as to say that you could probably be there by nightfall.
Okay.
And the tracks are headed in that direction as well.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not.
The ring fort could be less of a place of refuge and more of a stronghold for our enemies.
Or it could be besieged.
Besieged. Well, let's make haste. And I'll have my bow out all for the day as well, just in case.
Yeah.
Feeling we might need to.
Yeah, Jameis is going to be at the ready like all day.
Yeah. You make good travel now that you're out of the worst part of the marshes, and make your way in the direction that the Beornings told you the ring fort would be. Along the road in the afternoon, you see a pony. Looks like it's escaped its harness and possibly fled in terror, because there is a goblin arrow sticking out of its hind quarters. It appears to have tired to a point where it's just decided to lay down. It's unclear if it's dying. It certainly is well wounded, and the beast looks like it's been terrified.
Buffet's going to immediately rush up to this creature.
Well, be easy, be easy. It has been injured.
And
you can
she's
roll a
going to
medicine check.
examine it carefully. Yeah.
And while she's doing that, Jameis is actually going to fetch like a piece of an apple that he didn't finish from breakfast or something, and try to calm the beast while she does that.
Yeah.
Because I have proficiency in animal handling.
Great.
Nice.
It would be
It doesn't work.
14 in total. Doesn't want your food.
Yeah, the beast, the animal turns away the food, and it's in its terrified sort of state, tries to like chomp at your hand. But for Buffy, the arrow in the creature, it's safe to remove, and as you do so with your medicine check, luckily it is not poisoned. It didn't inflict any permanent injury on the poor terrified creature. It looks to have just scared it more than anything. It's also, there are probably more of them as well, and like goblins don't mesh well with horses, so there are other people in the area, perhaps at the Renfort.
Yeah. All right, so you said it's a medicine check to get it out of there?
Yep, the medicine check succeeded. Buffy got a 14. So it's okay. I'm not. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to try and bring it with you, or are you gonna set it free like Bill the Pony?
I feel like it would just get eaten by something if we set it free. You guys, well, what do you think? Gonna bring it with us?
I think that it would be a good idea. We might find its owner, and B, if not, if we find something else, we'll have a beast to carry something.
Certainly.
Yeah, Buffet will stroke its what do you call like the front part of its like face there? It's not really its nose, but you know what I'm trying to say. Muzzle, yeah, like
its muzzle.
that part like right between the eyes, which would be really weird to stroke on a human, but we always do it with horses for some weird reason.
It's Sharapova. Yeah. Stroke it, Sharapova.
Yeah. Stroke it, Streisand. Like.
Hey now.
And she'll speak calming words to it, and like, we'll protect you. It'll be okay.
The animal seems to warm to your attentions, and eventually gets up and agrees to come and follow you, probably with the assistance of some food as well, to get it back in a good mood. And the beast of burden follows you along quite happily. Now, as twilight comes closer, you continue towards the ring fort. You spot a big bonfire on a nearby hilltop, and you can see that there are people on top of that moving through the shadows, most clearly human. You can even see a couple of horses up there as well. And as the darkness grows around you, however, your elation for having found what could be the caravan darkens as you hear a horn. It's a deep war horn, and certainly not one of any human that you know. No, this instead is a goblin horn. That much is clear to you. And as you see the ring fort ahead, looming out from the darkness, you see that there are goblins upon goblins upon goblins coming out of the darkness, making their way towards the ring fort. You have but a few moments to make it there before it looks like a big battle is about to take place. And that is, of course, where we're going to end tonight's episode of Adventures in Middle-earth Wilderland Adventures. As we got some goblins, we got a big old fort, and we have a fellowship. So I am looking forward to next week. That much is sure. As oh boy, this is gonna be a fun little fight, and you guys are all exhausted.
No, we got rid of the exhaustion.
You got rid of the
honey cakes and barley cakes.
Thanks to the honey cakes. Yes.
Barley
Thank God for the
cakes.
honey cakes. Yeah, the honey cakes. Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
God. It's gonna be a good one.
At last, my honey cakes came in handy.
I know.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Cakes. That was a good fun journey. We made it from the Easterly Inn to the Ring Fort, And I had a couple of cool little adventures and encounters along the road. Met Radagast, that was fucking awesome. And I love how the game is like, GM, play Radagast now. And you're like, oh.
Get ready.
You're like, oh, here I go.
Come up with some wise shit and squirrels and improv from there. But that was a lot of fun. Radagast is one of my favorite characters from Tolkien, so getting to play him is good. It's a good time. And now you guys have the opportunity to make him your like patron in the next fellowship phase that we come to, which is going to be pretty fun. And Numenorian ruins, always a good chance for a bit of Tolkien foreshadowing when it comes to Minas Tirith and Dunedain and Aragorn wistfully questioning whether or not he's a good person, that kind of deal. And then a wounded pony to look after. And a wraith, of course. It wouldn't be an Adventure Middle-earth without a bit of a wraith thrown in there for fun. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed tonight's episode, then you simply must check out cubicle7.com and check out Adventures in Middle-earth. It's a full head-to-token version of D&D5E to this game, and I think you'd agree with me in saying that this is very much really feels like a Tolkien book. They've done a fantastic job on it. You should check them out there. Let's go around the cast and the crew though. Did we enjoy ourselves? Where can we find you guys online? Let's start with Pruitt. How was that tonight for you?
Oh, tonight's episode was absolutely awesome. Just again, like you just said, it's just the way the mechanics like just invoke Tolkien. Like the journey, the whole thing, it's beautiful. I love it. I'm completely sold 3 episodes in. And so I look forward to next week, and I look forward to see who Charlie brings to the table. It's going to be quite interesting to see who the next piece of our party will be. Monk is being very demanding right now. I am Pruitt. I am one half of WebDM. You can find our videos on YouTube. Today we have a video on cat people. And so go check that out. And you can check out our games Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on Twitch. Find me here on Friday on Octung Cthulhu at 4 Central. And check out Tales from the Grim Twitch channel for a little bit of Highlander on Sunday also, because there can be only one.
Fantastic. And Jim, I did not fall to shadow today, and I did not kill the pony, despite the sense I was getting from you that you wanted me to.
Well, I mean, why put an animal in a game if you're not gonna just kill it?
Kill it, right? Mercilessly.
Mercilessly. I mean, I was hoping personally that the pony would get lost in a bog somewhere, and we'd have a good Artax. That's what I was really hoping for. I was going to draw a lot of Schadenfreude out of that. So I'm doing great. I really love this game. I think to me it's like it breathes sort of a new life into the 5th edition, and like really encompasses like the whole Middle-earth feel very well. And I'm really loving the scholar class because it's like it's a weird jack of all trades, like no spell sort of bard, but also I don't know. It's all I'm really loving it. Pruitt had said all the stuff that I would say. I just say appreciate what you guys for supporting us, for watching the games that we do, for checking out the videos that we do, for hanging out online with us, for everything that you guys do. We appreciate it. And yeah, that's awesome. Can't wait to see what happens next week with these goblins.
Fantastic. And Madame Gandalf, how's that time for you and Buffy?
As always, I am a sucker for getting to play anything within the Lord of the Rings lore, and I especially love getting to experience this different part of the world that we know from the stories, and the mechanics of this Adventures of Middle-earth thing are actually so lovely. I'm loving the travel mechanics and how it really feels like it adds so much to the experience and to the adventure, other than just character bonding, which is always great when we still get to do that. But to actually have your skills as characters come into play as well for how well your travels go, absolutely love that. And we got to fight a wraith today. That is just dream come true right there. Getting to fight a wraith. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to be a part of this, and I'm thank you everyone for joining us in our enjoyment of the Adventures of Middle-earth.
Absolutely. It's a joy and a pleasure. And I can't wait next week as well. I think Charlie is playing a Rider of Rohan. Yeah. And I think that Rider of Rohan, spoiler alert, may be in that caravan on the ring fort there. And you guys are going to have... I love as well, like, it's super Tolkien-y and everything, and then they have these moments in the adventures where it's like, do you want to do the Weathertop adventure? Like, with some ring wraiths and some goblins? Is like, yes, I do. It's like, like, it's level 2, but do you want to do kind of Helm's Deep? And you're like, fuck yes, I do. And they're like, here it is. So
it's the best time to do Helm's Deep.
Exactly, level 2, yeah, when you are just a dude. About to get
one of those dudes up on the battlements.
Hey.
Yeah, that's exactly. And hey, if to be fair, you don't want to be a dude like Haldir when Gon's around, because if there's any honey, you're going up in smokes. Straight away. Elves on fire. Elves gone wild. Normally we have a show following up, which is Little Buses. We don't tonight, so we'll throw out some reruns if you want to enjoy last night's episodes of Call of Cthulhu, Beyond the Mountains of Madness, and the Cobalt Press World True Burns penultimate episode. You can stick here and enjoy the show. If not, there are a ton of other great shows happening on the channel and on Twitch, no doubt, environs tonight, so we'll see you guys then. Tomorrow back at 5 o'clock Eastern for the video game Once Upon a Time. If you want to come and play games with us, Expedition Point Play, come and join us. The Discord channel is a good place to come along, join up, sign up games, and all that good stuff. If you want to follow me elsewhere, well, you've already found me here. I trust that you can find me elsewhere as well, on places like Twitter and YouTube by searching in the name which is all over this channel. I'm not going to say it, I'm just going to let you guys find it. It'll be fun, like an Easter egg.
I'll do all the work for you.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the work. I'm going to make it easy. You've got this far, you can do it again. We believe in you guys. Another big thank you because they're our sponsors for letting us do this fantastic show. We'll see you guys next week for more Adventures in Middle-earth. Until next time, try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be there laughing when you do. Good night, everyone. Bye.